You guys are beating me to the punch. Hold on. You all set, Eric? Excellent. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bristol Town Council meeting of June 3rd. If you could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone. Welcome. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the first item of business is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the submission of minutes. We have the town council meeting minutes of May 13th, as well as the executive session meeting minutes from May 13th.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You.
The next item agenda is ordinance C1. This is ordinance 2026-6. This is amendment to the Chapter 16 Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Section 16143, Section 16152, and Section 16345. And this is for parking regulations on Birdside Street.
Make a motion to approve it.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is C2. This is ordinance 2026-7. This is amendments to Chapter 11, Section 11-1 of the Comprehensive Schedule of Fees. And this is for the zoning and planning related fee changes. This is second reading.
Make a motion to approve it.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve these updated and related fee charges. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item is C3. This is ordinance 2026-8. This is amendment to Chapter 16 Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Section 16345. And this is to amend the parking on Bradford Street between Hope and Central. Second reading.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Discussion? I'll take a quick moment. Just if it, I always say this when we go through these very quickly. If it feels like we're going through them very quick, we are. These are all second readings. We've had discussion and explanation on the first readings, including this one, which is updating Bradford Street. The signage and the ordinance will now coincide. So, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is D1. This is Nikki Tiska. This is for Beau Blue Boutique, 433 Hope Street. This is a request for a sidewalk use license for a new location.
Based on the positive recommendations, make a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is D2. This is Harbor Master Marsili, Chairman of the Harbor Festival Committee. This is a request for one-day dancing and entertainment license at Rockwell Park for the 13th Annual Harbor Festival to be held on August 15th from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Before we get a motion, can I have a motion to combine F1? Does
So-
that coincide?
F1 and D2?
So move.
Yes.
Yep. Second?
So we had a motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to combine F1 to this current item, which is D2. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent. So we're moving forward to say yes to this, but the Madam Clerk, if you could read
Yes.
out F1.
F1 is Harbor Master Marsili, Chairman of the Harbor Festival Committee. This is a request to sell and serve alcohol at Rockwell Park for the 13th Annual Harbor Festival to be held on August 15th from 1 to 8 p.m.
So we just need a motion on, we'll just get a motion for both, I would say.
Yes, I would say so. And I'm not sure, should we really approve this? This is the 13th year
I
that
know.
this is happening,
I know.
you know? And no, Greg, good job. We appreciate, all the years that it's being held. And obviously, it means a lot, not just the festival, but the blessing of the fleet as well. So we thank you for keep things moving along.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve both F1 and D2. Discussion? Mr. Harbormaster, would you like to take a moment to share with the public what this actually is?
So August 15th, we'll be down at Rockwell Park. The Blessing of the Fleet will start at 1 o'clock. We bring the boats down. They do a quick little parade through. Father Zeno will be down to throw some holy water on us. And then we'll have some fun festivities in the park as usual, stuff competition, chowder, clam cakes, steaks, clam boils. Tickets will be on sale very soon.
If one wants to buy tickets, and one really should,
Yes.
how would they do it?
Well, you can come by the harbor master's office and then we'll have a bunch of posters out with some QR codes where you can go right online and buy it or off our website,
Excellent.
bristolharborfest.com. Don't confuse with the one in England.
And I believe there's two options.
Two
right?
options. You can get the clam boil, little necks, or steaks. Steaks are awesome, hand cut, ribeye.
And there'll be watermelon and corn with it.
There's always watermelon. You forget watermelon 1 year, then it drags on for 13. So food, hot dogs for the kids for free. So
Sorry, Greg, I had to bring
I
that,
know.
you know.
I made a mistake once.
But, we won't let you live it down.
No, no.
Any other discussion from the council?
And Greg, rain or shine, it's August
shine.
15th, right? This is
Yeah,
one, no,
Plenty of text.
so come right down. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing everybody. Thank you.
Hearing no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And
Good luck.
Thank
Look.
you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is Z3. This is David Haworth, Fair and Square Pizzeria, 9 Gooding Avenue. This is a request for vittering license.
I think
Is
somebody's
Benjamin here?
He is.
Excellent. Benjamin looks very familiar from Riccati's.
Yeah, that's right. Same owner, actually.
Yes, excellent. Before you speak, is there a motion to approve, or
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve based on the recommendations.
is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim. Discussion. Benjamin, tell us what you're doing.
Sure. So we're opening a sourdough Detroit pizzeria in the old Domino's
You
location.
can move the mic up if you want.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's a sourdough Detroit pizzeria, opening in the old Domino's location right next to Riccati's. We'll be the only one in the entire state doing this. Our goal is to sell a really high-end artisan product at a very affordable price. And we can do that by keeping a small menu and low overhead. So you notice we have no dining room, it's takeout only. But we think it's going to be something really great. And we're opening June 13th.
June 13th.
Yes.
Excellent.
That's
Target date,
Typically, we ask
pending. you want
for
approval.
samples, just to make sure the product is up to speed.
Oh, I'm sure we can figure something.
You have a lot of really good competition around town, so
Yes, we did run this pizza for about a year out of Riccati's every Friday. And that
Oh,
went well,
nice,
So that's kind
nice.
of what caused this to happen.
good. Good. Glad to
come
hear
from a
that.
lot of success, so I'm
Yeah.
sure it'll continue.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Any other discussion from the council?
No, I just want to say thank you for staying in Bristol and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Yeah, We
Yep.
want to be there a long time.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank
Appreciate your time.
The next item on the agenda is D4. This is Daniel Manchester for Bristol Historical Preservation Society. This is a request for mobile food establishment event permit for the annual Flea and Fair for August 8th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Based on the recommendations, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is D5. This is Arts in Common for Porch Fest 2026. This is a request for one-day dancing and entertainment license and street closure of a 6-block section of High Street from Wally to Byfield Streets on Sunday, September 20th from 2:30 to 6:30.
Based on the recommendations, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Any discussion?
Yes, just, there's no one here, but just making them aware of, and I'm sure it's never been an issue about the police and fire details. And also the coordination with DPW about, blocking the streets, so.
Well said.
And also, I think there's a rain date for September 27th. So I don't know if we need to include that in the motion or not, but
Yes.
okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is D6. This is Charles McDonough, Bristol 4th of July Committee. This is a request for the mobile food truck establishment event permit for outdoor concert series at Independence Park. This is from June 21st through July 2nd from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Based on the positive recommendations, I make a motion to approve it.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary. Any discussion?
Chuck is not here. I had a question. I was looking through the sketch there, and I didn't see where the porta johns were located. Did somebody else notice that, or where they're locating them?
I am not aware of that.
Yeah, I looked at
They're
the
typically,
sketch and, I know because things will be modified for the food trucks to go along Thames and then, handicap parking into the commercial fisherman area. So I was just wondering. I mean, it's no big deal,
past
certainly.
years, it had been against the dock area, which is now a new
Right.
dock area, right? Would you like to make the motion so it includes clarity on that?
Not really.
No?
No.
Okay.
I'll pass up on that.
Okay.
I'm sure, uh, I'll hold off on the other comment I was gonna make.
I didn't know where you were going. So, any other discussion?
No, I was just happy to see there was a comprehensive security plan for this. I mean, it's a major part of the 4th of July celebration. So I think it's even though it's down near Independence Park, we had some hesitation in the past. It seems like it's been well thought out and definitely in support.
And to speak to Tim's point, included in our packet is a fact sheet for food truck safety, and that talks about
Mhm.
things like
Yeah.
placement of the trucks, which of course the police chief weighed in on and his department weighed in on, and also where generators go and LP containers, such and so forth. So
Yeah.
there was, to Tim's point, it was well thought out.
Pretty comprehensive.
Yes. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is F2. This is Lena Amaral, 19 School Street. This is a request for accessible parking spot in the vicinity of the residence.
Chief, your recommendation to the council was to deny, and the way I read it was because there is the resident has a driveway. Could you expand upon it a bit? I know we have it, but just for the public and the record.
Yes, Captain Wozni worked with DPW Director Pereller, and they determined that there was ample off-street parking at that residence. That's the basis for the denial.
Council?
Actually, I took it right. I mean, I trust their recommendation, but just out of curiosity, because we've had a couple of things on handicap parking in the area, and I was just very curious. So I took it right, but I concur that there's ample space off street.
Okay.
So based on the recommendations and the available off-street parking, I make a motion to deny.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is G1. This is the Bristol Christmas Festival. This is for 1 year expired term set to expire February 2026. And we have the recommendation from the chairwoman, Tanya Carrion, for the Christmas Festival 2026.
Based on the recommendation of the chair, I recommend we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G2. This is the Historic District Commission. This is for 1 3-year unexpired member position set to expire July 2027. And we have Michael O'Laughlin with interest in resignation. And then we have Robert Page, who is the first alternate with interest in being elevated, and Robert Camara, who is the second alternate with interest in being elevated.
I make a motion that we approve the resignation. And I was reading through Melissa's notes, and I think she really covers the thank you already through the communication with him. And I also include in that motion to elevate Robert Page.
You'd be elevating both, like,
I think there's only one position on the.
no, I mean, one.
Oh, yes,
first alternate
yes.
Up to the alternate, and then the
Correct.
second alternate up to the first alternate, and then.
And we advertise,
second
right?
alternate.
Mary, can you put your mic on?
Yes,
Yes.
you are very right. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, so the motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, was to move Robert Page to the full position, which is being vacated by Michael O'Laughlin, and to then move Robert Camara to the first alternate position. Any discussion?
In other times.
And to advertise for.
And to
the
advertise.
second,
Thank you
yeah,
for that.
thank you.
And to advertise. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And this is the end of the boards and commissions.
It is.
It is.
Is there something, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, yes, this council always says thank you to the boards and commissions. And there are some meetings that are particularly difficult. There are some meetings that are particularly easy. But all of those meetings means that the men and women who live in this community take time away from their family and friends to serve this community. And this council recognizes that. This town recognizes that by saying thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is I1. This is CLA with the presentation of the fiscal year 2025 annual financial statements.
The moment of the meeting we've all been waiting for. So
Oh, boy,
welcome.
yeah.
Welcome. No pressure at all. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Floor is yours.
So do you all have my slide deck or?
We received it from the clerk. Yes.
Yes.
So, and I think, Eric, do you have that we're able to put it up on TVs? Our truly capable, Eric is going to get that up on, there it is right there.
Gotta love it when
So,
IT works.
yes. Every other
Yes.
year.
That's fun when it doesn't work, right? So my name's Steve Gross. I'm a audit principal at CLA. I'm tasked with overseeing and ultimately signing off on the engagement. I'll just do a brief overview. So when we move on to the next slide, it's just a legal disclaimer. So we can move on from that. So I'm going to be covering 4 things: the audit scope, financial highlights, required communications, and then some questions afterwards. So our engagement is essentially, we do 3 different tasks for the town. We first report on the engagement under generally accepted auditing standards. This is your basic financial statement. So this is your balance sheet, the P&L, and everything that's encompassed within there. For that financial statement, we issued a unmodified or clean opinion. This is the highest rated opinion that you can get. The second report is under generally accepted government auditing standards. This is also commonly known as your Yellow Book report. It provides a report on internal controls over financial reporting, compliance with laws, grants, and regulations. We only had 1 finding related to that, which was a significant deficiency on internal controls over that financial reporting. This just relates to a bunch of cleanup items that we had from prior year audits that me and the finance director kind of worked together with to resolve in the current year. So I don't expect this finding to be carried going forward. So this is kind of just a 1-year finding, as we just need to clean up a bunch of stuff. And then the third item is uniform guidance. This is also commonly known as the federal single audit. So this is all your federal grants that's received through the town. ARPA, CDBG are the main ones. And we had no instances of non-compliance related to those grant compliance. Moving on, this is a high-level view of your government-wide financial statements. So the first column is essentially all the town's activities minus sewer activity and your pension activity. And then that business type is just your sewer activity since you have no other enterprise funds. There was some increases in the assets and the liabilities. These increases relate to the issuance of the bonds in fiscal year 25 and then the purchasing and the capitalizing of those assets. And then moving on to the next page. This is your governmental fund balances on essentially your P&L for your general fund, and then all of your other funds that aren't related to sewer fund or your pension and OPEB plan. As you can see near the bottom, you got 219,000 in excess over revenues over expenditures, which means that you had brought in more money than you spent. So that's always a good thing. So that added to your fund balance. You can also see that with your other funds as well, which also increased $737,000, which in total was just shy of $1 million of increase in fund balance. Moving on, this is just a representation of the general fund and the fund balance. This is kind of what a lot of the bond rating agencies look at is your fund balance. So I kind of just do a little blurb on that. Essentially what they look at is your assigned and unassigned. Essentially that's what is considered your rainy day fund. In fiscal year 25, that was around $10.1 million. Usually, rating agencies as well as the Auditor General for the state of Rhode Island recommends having a percentage around 15 to 20% of your fund balance should be reserved for rainy day, just because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day. So it's always good to have that reserve in there, and it also helps your bond rating, right? So when you have a higher bond rating, that means the cost to borrow is less. So, so that's what this is kind of breaking out. And if you look at the last 3 years, you can see that fund balance gradually increasing, which means you're having a little bit more in that rainy day fund. Moving on to the next one, this is just a high-level view of your shore enterprise fund. This had a negative change in net position of $555,000, but overall, since you still have $23 million in fund balance, that fund still seems to be pretty healthy. So
Steve, just stopping there for a second. So
Sure.
we saw a decrease there, but that was on council action taken so we could do, we'll call it capital improvements.
Right. Yeah. You can see that through the transfers out $575,000. That's kind of what that council action is. So essentially you're just eating into some of that position. So
thank you. Please.
All right, moving on to the next slide. This is just your fund deficits. Essentially, all these are those aggregate remaining funds that aren't part of the general fund. It accumulates to around $1 million. This could just be timing issues. So if you have a grant that's outstanding that hasn't been collected yet, you might be showing a negative fund balance until that grant gets collected in the following fiscal year, or you're waiting for bond money to come through to essentially offset that excess expenditure. Moving on, this is a high-level view of all of your debt. So on the top section, it's your governmental activities. There was the addition of the $2.8 million bond in fiscal year 25, but that was pretty much offset by the debt service. So overall, the debt service decreased. Your net pension liability, which is all those state plans that the town holds, as well as your police pension plan, that showed a decrease. So that went from $13 million to $10.7 million. So that's just driven by actuarial assumptions, as well as how your performance did on your investments held in the pension, the OPEB plans. And then for the business type activities, there was that $2 million loan that was issued through the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. And then that was just offset by current year debt service on the remaining outstanding debt that year. Moving on, this is just a high level view of your budget to actual. As you can see near the bottom, there was $800,000 that was appropriated for fund balance, which wasn't needed this year, as you still had a surplus during the year of $376,000. So just means that each department is monitoring their expenditures and not going over what they were budgeted and allocated for by the town council. Now going back to the federal single audit, this is the uniform guidance. So we tested 2 programs. It was ARPA and CDBG that represented around $2.25 million. So essentially we tested about 66% of the total federal awards of 3.84%. And like I mentioned before, there was no compliance findings, and we're going to look to issue a unmodified opinion on those on grant compliance.
Yes, if I may, on the ARPA there, okay, is there a balance at this point, or are we cleaned out?
We do have a small balance left. We need to spend the money by December 26. In order, if we don't, we forfeit the funds, but trust me, we can use the money in our projects we have all over town.
So I took that as we'll spend the money.
We will.
Right, so there's a small amount. Oh, okay.
My recommendation would be to spend the money by 12/31.
Yeah.
We'll follow that.
And then required communications, this is communications by us, your auditors, to you, the council, who's in charge of governance. There was only one GASB that we implemented during fiscal year 25, which relates to compensated absences. There was two significant estimates that were part of our audit, both the net pension liability and the net OPEB liability, which in your case is actually a net OPEB asset. There's a lot of actuarial assumptions that underlie those numbers that relate to, making projections of mortality as well as investment return on your pension plan and OPEB plans. So based on those estimates, they can shift a little bit, and those balances can obviously fluctuate a lot because of those assumptions. We considered none of the disclosures sensitive to the financial statements. We encountered no difficulties in performing the audit. Moving on to the next page, there was no uncorrected misstatements. We did have some restatements that I mentioned earlier. These were all a bunch of cleanup items that occurred this year, which we won't expect going forward. One was related to the GASB 87 leases, there was a bunch of lessor transactions that needed to be reported to the general fund, which they have since been reported. This applied both to the governmental activities as well as the general fund. There was also a correction of the capital assets just to agree to the underlying schedules that were provided by the finance director. There was the removal of the SOAR portion of the net OPEB asset that was being double counted on both the governmental and the business type activity financial statements. So we essentially just pulled that activity out, and that was just standing on the SOAR fund. Then we removed the double counting of bond funds. So essentially there was some adjustments made by the previous auditor where they essentially just double counted the money that was being held by Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. So all we did was just remove that double counting on the government-wide. On the fund level, which is what the town manages, there was no double counting. So this was just during the 34 entries to the government-wide financials. And then we adjusted the bond premiums as well, which is also one of those 34 entries that the previous auditor is responsible for booking at the end of the day. For the business type, we only had two corrections, which was also related to the capital assets. They didn't agree to the underlying ledgers provided by the town, so we just adjusted those balances to what the town had on record. And then there was a capital fund that it was held that's on the books for the town, which wasn't included in previous audits. So we added that fund. It's related to the SOAR Enterprise Capital Fund.
Did any of those corrections have any impact on the budget? It would not, no adjustments need to be made to the budget though, right?
There was no adjustments to the budget related to any of these restatements.
Okay.
Essentially, what happens is how you budget it, we would just adjust it through the budget to GAAP reconciliation. So it had no effect on the budget as a whole.
Gotcha.
It's just essentially GAAP cleanup.
Hmm.
Lastly, we had no disagreements with management. We were not aware of management consulting any other independent accountants during our audit. There was no significant issues discussed with management prior to the engagement. There was no significant findings or issues that were discussed or the subject of correspondence with management thereon, other than was already mentioned before. There was no other audit findings or issues. And then there was two other things that were added to the audited financial statements, that of the RSI, which includes your budget, pension, and OPEB schedules, and then the stat information, which is your tax collector schedule. And with that, is there any questions that the town council?
I have Carl and team. I want to thank you. Obviously the town's on good financial footing and we appreciate you keeping an eye on everything. I had a question on the GASB 101. If you could just sort of explain what that means. I don't really understand it.
Sure.
And two, the fund deficit that you mentioned, there was $1 million plus. It's due to timing of some kind of something coming in. Is that going to be addressed?
Okay. So I'll handle question one. So question one is GASB 101. So that relates to compensated absences. So in the past, compensated absences was calculated as an accrual. So it's like, all right, if the town was ceased operations as of 6:30, how much would the town owe all of its employees? And essentially, that's how the calculation was until this year. And what changed is what isn't paid anymore. So what is accrued by the employee, but isn't paid out by the town at the time of termination. So let's look at sick time, for example. Say that sick time is only paid out 50% when you terminate from the city, either through retirement or the employee leaves, right? On the old way, you would just say, all right, they had 20 hours, they get 50% of it, they get paid out 10 hours. Now we're looking at the other 50%, which is what doesn't get paid out. And what we do is we look at historical information and see how much of that time we expect that employee to use prior to their termination. So all we're doing is trying to figure out of the 10 hours they're not going to get anymore, how much do we expect them to use by the time they leave, either through termination or through retirement. So if we expect them to use 20% of their time, we now accrue 2 more additional days on top of the 10 days that you're already going to pay out via cash. And that's what we now accrue.
Okay, so it's a projection,
It's essentially it's an estimate. Yeah.
an estimate. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And then the second item, I don't know if Carl wants to touch on that subject.
Sure, I can address that. So the negative fund balances in some of the accounts are reimbursements and trans. For instance, we get reimbursed, as you know, we're doing a lot of RIB financing now. And the difference between a RIB bond and a GO bond, the GO bond, we get the money all up front. In RIB financing, it's drawdown. So we expend the money out of the general fund, then we have to get reimbursed by RIB for the money. So that's basically how it works. And some of the funds we're waiting for the money to come back from RIB, such as the grants, all the RIB financing grants. I know Ed does a lot of them with the trees in Independence Park, where they do a yearly report. We upload it to RIB. RIB reimburses us for all of those funds. And a lot of the other funds that are showing negative are reimbursed by the state as well, which some came back in FY 26. We saw that clear up 25's negatives. What I did was, and I'm going to send to the council tomorrow, I have it prepared, is every single one of the negatives, you're going to see how it's going to be resolved as far as if it was resolved already, reimbursed by 26, and how we're going to resolve. There's some small ones out there, which could be cleanup from years ago. Wheelchair grants is one of them. It's a small amount of money that probably the amount should come from, to make up the difference, could come from the general fund. You can get like $800 or something to that effect. So any of the big ones, it's accounted for basically by reimbursement from different sources, state, RIB, and other agencies. So there's a few of them that we need to clean up on and research on, because some of them are carried over from like 21, 22, they just continue to roll over because of the funds just continue to roll year after year. So, yeah, that just needs, some of them need to be cleaned
That
up.
deficit money keeps rolling over from year after year, or is that at some point
The fund
we
is,
just close it out?
Yeah.
Okay,
We just close it out.
close it out. Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carl.
Mr. Chairman,
course.
I'll just say, thanks, Carl. I think that what we've heard today demonstrates that this council and the administration and the staff that we have behind all of this, we're good stewards of taxpayer money. And that, like, even when we did use that fund balance, what was it, $2 million? I think, Mr. Chairman, you just said that while he was talking about that. That's for a major capital project. We weren't using $2 million on a one-time expenditure or anything like that. It was a $2 million expenditure for something that was going to last about 15 to 25 years, and that was road maintenance. So it's something that when we're spending today, it's going to benefit future taxpayers.
See, there's a reason why you don't need to worry about when I make those motions, you know. Not, no, but in all truth, you know, really, I have to concur with our my colleagues, that we are in a very good position. When we hear the news about Cranston, well, other municipalities, let's not mention too many of those, even in Massachusetts, you sit there and you go, we're not too bad after all. For as much as people sometimes complain, we are doing a very good job overall. We're being good stewards all around, not just the council, but obviously the staff. You folks do a good job keeping the books, for the town, and obviously the oversight by the administrator as well.
Mary?
No, it was, I think
Felt
it's
like-
like we're always in very good shape, and I thank everyone that keeps a good eye on everything and makes it so much easier, so much easier. I've worked in a community that can't keep track of their accounting for the last 3 years, and it's a disaster. So it's very wonderful to see that we are not anywhere near that situation, and that we have a good handle on our financial situation, and that we're able to take advantage of situations that come up that may require funding, because we have, our fund balances, we have money in the bank, so to speak. And I'm very proud of like our community, and that we're able to, for many, many years, have a very good financial report, and that we're financially sound. So I thank everyone that is involved. with that.
I will finish by saying, unless you
Well,
wanted to add something.
yes, if I
Please.
may just, from one of the colleagues for 40 years here with the town government, that means a lot, that statement.
Agreed. So my colleagues covered it real quick. We had no management letter. No management letter is an outstanding achievement. And I'll take a moment to, again, say thank you, Carl, your department, Land, the efforts and energies that go into this. Carl and the administrator, in fact, I should have said that earlier, and the clerk did remind me at the beginning of the meeting that Steve Contenti is not here this evening because he's at the high school giving out awards on behalf of the town. So he is there doing important work as we're doing important work here. Steve, thank you for your run through of the work that you did. So the no management letter, I keep coming back to that because that is clearly saying that good work is being done here. You, our new auditing firm, did an outstanding job. We had a lot of changes over the last year, including new accounting software, which is a tremendous change. If anybody's gone through any kind of software change at their employer, we all know how difficult it is. It is not fun. So that in and of itself is an outstanding. The change from the improvements that we're seeing with your firm, we very much appreciate.
Thank you so much.
The fund balance going up is a phenomenal next step, and it's always we're doing a good job with that, which speaks to no structural deficit here. We're not building to bring it down. So many good things here. I just wanted to say again, thank you. I know my colleagues and I work very hard on this. We are ultimately responsible for it, but like we talk about, there's nothing that anyone can do alone. So outstanding job to all of you. Help me with, are we accepting this report? I don't know the motion necessary.
It would be to accept the financial statements as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I2. This is tax assessor Leadham, and this is the resolution for 2026 of the town of Bristol authorizing the assessment of valuations and levy of taxes, sewer service fees, and sewer assessments.
Hi, Chris.
Good evening.
Quick rundown as we do this every year, please.
Okay, so I think this is more just a rubber stamp on the budget that was already approved. Not much has changed since then. So the levies basically, staying intact to what you approved to the 53, 624, 724. The tax rate for our homestead tax rate is projected at 9.939 or $9.94 per thousand. And our non-homestead rate will be at 10.0 986, roughly, $10.99 per thousand. So
And Chris-
right in line with what was
It's a little bit less than what we had
about
figured,
a,
Yeah.
about a penny less
but
on each.
but it is
Drop a little
less
bit.
than, Chris? Can you say it out loud for me?
It's less.
That's the question. Is it more or less?
It's the little things, Chris. You know,
Yeah, it
so,
is.
yeah,
Take what we can
it
get.
really is. Any
Yes.
questions from the council?
Can you repeat those numbers again, please? Was 9.39?
Yeah, so the homestead is
nine.
9.939.
Oh, 939, okay.
And the non-homestead and commercial is 10.986.
Thank you.
Going in the right direction.
So if there's no
With the
questions from
dollar.
the council, we just need a motion to adopt the resolution.
So
Uh,
move.
Yeah, move to adopt the resolution.
All right, so
Second.
motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
The next item on the agenda is I3. This is Chris Rooney, Forestry Manager with Rhode Island Energy, requesting the council's consideration for Rhode Island Energy to administer tree growth regulators on specific trees throughout the town of Bristol.
Welcome, Chris.
Good evening.
Good
How are you?
evening.
So Rhode Island Energy, with approval and awareness of the PUC, is starting to use tree growth regulators. And what a tree growth regulator does is it directs growth instead of growing back into the wire zone. It takes some of that energy and stores it into the tree, into the trunk of the tree, and helps the root system. So what it does is, for us as a utility, when we prune a tree, it wants to grow back into the space that we just trimmed out. This slows that growth down and then makes the next trip into town where we don't have to take as much of the tree out, and we don't have to use as many police details, lock up the road for a lot of work, that type of stuff. So it's essentially an effort to reduce future work. The plus about the tree growth regulators is that it provides some beneficial health characteristics to the tree. So the tree becomes more insect and disease resistant, and just provides it a little bit more strength to handle the day-to-day. It's not a vitamin, but it's close. And it's been pretty well established over the years and used in various areas. In Rhode Island, we've used it, Rhode Island Energy has used it in Newport. Providence, we just did the east side. We've done it on DOT-owned trees. So before we went and explored using it in Bristol, we approached the town administrator about a month ago, had a nice meeting with them, informed them of what we were thinking about. He also gave it to the Conservation Commission to look over and study. And both of them, I think, provided findings to you all. And
Yep.
The biggest part with this is the transparency. Rhode Island Energy is not trying to pull anything over. We're just trying to be, this is what the benefits are to this program. It is a new effort that we are doing compared to National Grid. We tried it with National Grid. I've been in this position 20 years, so I've trimmed Bristol multiple times as the forestry manager. And this is a tool in Arbor's toolbox to help the situation get better.
Chris, I don't want to I don't want to go negative, but you talked about the positive. What are the negatives? Are there negatives?
Their cost.
So this won't hurt the tree.
No.
It's not going to hurt the surrounding ground. It's not going to affect, for example, like a well or something like that.
Nope. And
Wildlife? That's going to ask the same question.
No.
Wildlife?
the only thing it would affect is if somebody put flowers around the tree that we were going to treat, where those flowers would uptake that stuff and slow the growth of the.
So they'd be stronger flowers.
Well, they would be significantly small. They would be significantly small.
Since you've brought that up, is there a radius that it affects?
It all depends on the strength of the tree. So there's certain trees in Bristol that are linden trees.
Yeah.
So right now we have crews on Ferry Road. Unfortunately, linden trees want to become a hedge. So for every cut you make, another sprout comes back, and it is a very difficult place to trim. This would hopefully help our workers 4 years from now not have to take as much, and they can stay further back from the wires and also prevent, help us prevent outages better.
Okay. Council?
I was looking through the pictures that were provided to us, and one of them, to your point about the tree, it sort of redirects the energy of the tree to the roots, And it was interesting because to your point, storms and all of that, if the trees are growing stronger, well, there it is, the reduction in damage and, all the things that we have to deal with currently, presently. So, yeah, thank you.
For full transparency, what we intend to do is provide a list to the tree warden so he knows where we're going to be. So that if there's any questions, comments, he has any concerns, he'll know exactly before we treat those trees. The trees on Hope Street and High Street, which are state, it will be the same thing. We will provide a list to the state of the trees we intend to treat. We'll get a permit from them, so there's full transparency and there's no surprises.
So what is the information? So this is completely non-toxic to the environment?
There is a little bit, just like fertilizer is or a Tide Pod, it's very low impact.
So what is it that it would potentially hurt? Like
No,
insects, bees?
it wouldn't affect any environmental like insects or bees or anything like that. It's not a pesticide. It falls into a weird category as a tree growth regulator. So it's not a fertilizer, but it's also not a herbicide or an insecticide. So it's not stopping anything from growing. It's just making the tree grow smaller.
So is it will it in any way weaken the trees?
No, ma'am.
Because I just personally found out that a hurricane, like like the deductible is like 40 something thousand, on my house if a tree fell on it. But I am a little concerned about the toxicity or anything like that because I am also concerned, I have to say it. I know there's probably not any options, but the V-shaped trees do not really look like a tree canopy, that we're all known for. And people come through and see like a place that gets awards for its tree-lined streets. I mean, it's constantly, I don't know if there's any other way to make them less obvious of a wishbone or not, but.
So, and that's the bright spot is that hopefully if this works, I'm taking half of the V out compared to the full V where it would be 4 years from now. So the tree wants to grow back and fill in exactly where we pruned. So our cycle in Bristol, we've never really gone back further than we've traditionally gone back. So the cuts that you're seeing now are where we've cut to in the past. So it's just like mowing the lawn. You got to go back every 4 years. This hopes to reduce the amount that we have to take out every year, every time we come back. So that's the hopes and dreams of this.
All right, thank you.
And the tree warden would have a list of what trees to oversee. So we would have a record of what trees were treated and versus what ones were not.
Yes, sir. As a
Okay.
matter of fact, in the city of Providence and Newport, we put this into their tree inventory system so they know what trees we treated and on what date. So we want full transparency.
I must tell you, the way that you explained it and how you're explaining it, how you want to make sure that you keep saying full transparency, and I love it. I don't mind saying I'm a little concerned because this is new and different, and slowing down natural growth does make you kind of question. But you have a Purdue University study in front of us. We have our Conservation Commission giving it a thumbs up. Everything that we would normally go to, not Purdue, but studies and
Right.
well, we could go to Purdue, I
Purdue.
guess, right? But our Conservation Commission on a situation like this, we're getting thumbs up, and your explanation and what seems to be a great benefit makes sense. So,
Mr. Chairman,
please.
I'll just reinforce a lot of what you were saying
Please.
here is that just having the support from the Conservation Commission on this was very important for me. And these resources, I think, were provided by the Conservation Commission. I think that they actually went through all of these resources and read them, summarized them, interpreted them, and made some sort of decision on the basis of that. And knowing about who we know serves on that Conservation Commission, I have a lot of confidence in the report or in their recommendation here.
So we need, in my, and please disagree, but we need a motion to approve the plan put in front of us from the forestry manager of Rhode Island Energy.
So move.
I'll second based on the recommendations.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda are the bids. The first bid is J1. This is bid 1087. This is for the townwide heating, ventilation, air conditioning, repair maintenance contract. We had the bid openings today at noon. We received 2 bids for that. We have the automatic temperature control Inc. in the amount of $51,880. And we also have the Ardent Engineering in the amount of $58,676.
I make a motion, we refer to the town administrator to act in the best interest of the town.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is bid 1088. This is for the townwide landscaping contract. We also had the bid today at 12 o'clock. We received 1 bid opening for that, and that's from Dave Punt's Landscaping Services. And it was a 3-year contract, with year 1 at $334,730, year 2 at $346,445, and year 3 at $358,751.
I make a motion to refer to the town administrator to act in the best interest of the town.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is I3. This is bid number 1089. This is the curbside collection of residential yard waste. We did also have the bid opening today at noon. We received 1 bid from Mega MTG Disposal. And it's broken down in a 3-year contract and a 5-year contract. The 3-year base bid service only was a total bid amount of $1,841,400. And you'll see it broken back into 3-year segments. Each indicates the disposal at the Rhode Island Resource Recovery Center and the other one at the town compost facility, and they both mimic each other for each year. And then we also had the 5-year base bid for service only, with a total base bid of the 5-year at $2,737,500. And this also has the 1 to year 5 disposals at the RIRRC and the town facility, both mimicking each other.
I have a question. Does this come close to what we had anticipated or had projected when we received the proposal through the budget?
I believe it's a little bit higher.
It's a little higher than expected.
That we're gonna have to get our head around.
Okay. Well, based on that, I make a recommendation to refer to the town administrator to act in the best interest of the town.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And the next item on the agenda is J4. This is bid number 1090. This is the 2627 tree planting landscaping service. We had the bid opening today at noon, and we had 6 bids for that one. The first bid was from HG Landscaping Services, LLC, in the amount of $380 per tree. We have the coastal companies with the bid amount of $535.42 per tree. We had Landscaping Services, Inc. in the amount of $387 per tree. We had MON Landscaping, Inc. in the amount of $350 per tree. We had Regal Tree and Shrub Experts, LLC, and this was in the amount of $660 per tree. And the last one was from Northeastern Tree Services in the amount of $520 per tree.
I make a motion to refer to the town administrator to act in the best interest of the town.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion?
Just how it varies the amounts, from
Huge.
the lowest to the highest, but the administrator will read through that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Andy?
Can
I would.
can I add that? Can I add that now? That agenda item?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to just place an agenda item, extending our sympathies to Joan Doyle Roth, if I could add that to the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Motion made by Mary, seconded by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mary?
Yes, I just wanted to take a moment to extend our sympathies on behalf of the town and my colleagues here. For those of you, many of you know Joan Doyle Roth. She passed away on Memorial Day, I believe it was, and she was 99, close to 100. Her birthday would be in October. And for those of us who knew Joan, she's an absolute treasure of our community. And if you didn't know Joan, she's a treasure, an icon, an enthusiastic supporter of all things of her beloved Bristol. She was very involved with so many things. Like she was a music teacher. If you've ever been to the Many Moods of Christmas concert or the concerts on the Common, which she helped start, anything like that, Joan would have been, right in the middle of it. And she also was on the original committee. I won't go through her whole list because there's a lot. Very, very involved with the Rotary Club in Bristol, as was her aunt, who played the piano there every week. And one of the original committee members to save Linden Place in the 1980s. She was just an absolute jewel and knew everything about Bristol and Bristol history and loved sharing it, often called on to be like a little tour guide if there's a bus tour in Bristol, kind of got brought into that, knew everything about it, and she certainly will be missed. And I just wanted to extend our sincere condolences to her daughters, Joanna and to Katie.
If I may add to that, when I became town administrator in Little Compton and they found out I was from Bristol, one of the things people would ask is, do you know Joan Roth?
Yes.
I go, do I know Joan Roth?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. She was a teacher actually in Little Compton, a music teacher.
Right, yes.
In Little
Yeah.
Compton for quite a few years as well.
Yeah.
She left quite an impact in the community, I can tell you that.
Mary, Tony, well said. I love the word treasure. I think that was well said.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for letting me bring that up.
Of course. Andy,
Yes, I would ask for a motion to go into executive session under Rhode Island General Laws, Section 42-46-5A2 pertaining to litigation regarding the case 1:26-CV-00150-MSM-PAS, Town of Bristol versus Transportation Security Administration et al.
Counsel?
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary. Any discussion? We were going into executive session now. We will end our meeting in public, but the video will stop now. So good night. Thank you.